Shrishti and Shafaq are given the task of improving and approving the product made. Shrishti, a perfectionist, always having a higher bar of any work. For her, it's okay if it takes a little more time as long as she gets the perfect result. While Shafaq believes that perfection is an illusion and there's always a room for improvement, which for her also means that it's alright if something has few cons having multiple pros. Now let's have a look at how the discussion on new product which has to be launched goes.
Good morning, Shrishti. I kept this online meet to give you the good news that our product is ready to be launched in the market. So you just have a look on this and please let me know about your thoughts on this.
Good morning. I think the product looks great, but it'll be better if we could put more efforts into research and development so that any customer can easily connect to this product and they will have no issues buying it. Also, in the end, research and development is the big hero of any product.
Yeah, but I think a product sells because of its marketing strategy.
But there still needs to be done a lot of work in this product. You can't expect us to marketize it so soon.
See, we have already wasted enough time on research, and I think it's high time we get to the sales actually.
I think you're being a bit hasty right now. Clearly, we still have a long way to go, yet you're so persistent on the marketing aspect, whereas we, in fact, have no product to market at all.
I could say the same to you, keeping in mind the earlier statement.
What's that supposed to mean?
It's clear that you want the entire credit for this project. Have you forgotten we are a team?
I haven't forgotten that we are still a part of a team. And let me clarify, I'm not after the credit. It's just that
You know what, Mr. Team Leader, you can take the call. I'm not interested anyway.
See, there you go. Backing out when things don't go your way.
Huh? How could you get so personal?
So, this was Shafaq and Shrishti. Had a little conflict while working on a new product launch. So, it's always said that 10% of conflict happens due to the difference of opinion, but the other 90% of actual conflict happens because of the delivery of language and tone of voice, which we have clearly seen in this previous videos. So next, let's watch an animated video of Rob and Sue. And here you will see Sue approaching two different conflict management.
Hi Sue, how are you?
I am fine, Rob. I hope you are as well.
You asked to see me. What is this about?
Well, I was very disappointed in your response to the announcement yesterday. I think it was unprofessional and put me in a very bad position as your supervisor.
I am sorry to hear that, but if you knew what you were doing, I would not have responded that way.
Rob, I have had enough of your childish behavior and lack of respect. You can pack up your belongings now. I will have security escort you from the building. Goodbye. Well, Rob, I am sorry that you feel that way. Had I known you felt that way, I would have made sure we sat down to discuss this prior to the meeting. Now, why don't we sit down and discuss why you think I do not know what I'm doing?
Rob and Sue sit down, on the same side of the table, facing each other, both leaning slightly forward in an active listening pose. This conflict has a chance at being resolved.
Hello guys, our topic for today is conflict management. We are group 2. I am Taranjeet Kaur with my wonderful members Shafaq, Shrishti, Sukhdeep and Purnima. So by this, let's learn a few tricks, strategies, methods and facts and some more interesting concepts of conflict management. What is conflict management and some benefits of conflict management? Imagine going to work every day and facing a colleague who doesn't respect you, or having to work with someone who is constantly undermining your decisions. Would it make getting up in morning and heading off to work motivating experience, or more likely would it be tempt to make more sick days than normal, or worse, give up on your job entirely? This is everyday reality for thousands of workers, made worse by senior managers who don't understand how to resolve workplace conflict, or those who simply let it slide, hoping the situation might simply go away. This is where conflict management becomes the hero. It's the practice of being able to identify and handle conflict sensibly, fairly, and effectively. Since conflicts in a business are a natural part of the workplace, it's important that there are people who understand conflicts and know how to resolve them. Conflict management plays an important role in our personal lives as help to find a middle way or an alternative to any problem. Managing conflict well can help find creative solutions to internal relationships issue and can help to prevent environments that breed negativity, stress, demotivation, and general employee unrest. One of the most important elements in conflict resolution is choosing to tackle problems as a team rather than attacking each other. Conflict should be embraced so that it can be managed effectively. Well-managed conflict becomes the key to effective communication in higher performing teams. When a manager understands how to manage conflict, team members are not afraid to disagree with one another, challenge and question each other, all in the spirit of finding the best answer and making great decisions.
We now know what is conflict and conflict management. But how do we solve it? Well, there's an answer to this question in the form of Thomas Kilmann model. What is it, you ask? The Thomas Kilmann model is the idea that everyone thinks and handles conflict differently, but such differences can be overcome. This can be done by 5 handling modes. The first being competing conflict handling mode, which is the most assertive and least cooperative of the conflict handling modes. It is a power-oriented mode, one which uses whatever power dynamic seems appropriate to get a favorable outcome for oneself. The second conflict handling mode is accommodating, which is both accepting and cooperative. It is the complete opposite of competing. While accommodating, the individual in question neglects their own problems or beliefs to address the problems of the other party. The element of self-sacrifice is highlighted in this mode. The next is avoiding, which is unassertive as well as uncooperative. The individual wants to neither address their own problems nor the problems of others. Avoiding might be seen at times as a diplomatic move involving bypassing or ignoring the issue. It could also involve putting off the issue until the time is favorable or simply stepping back from an uncomfortable or hazardous situation. The most beneficial outcome in the Thomas Kilmann conflict model is collaborating, as it includes a voluntary effort to work alongside the opposition to find a perfect solution that wholly addresses the collective problem. It involves striving to look for creative answers to interpersonal issues and enriching yourself from the other person's insights. Compromising is the last outcome in the Thomas Kilmann conflict model, which falls on average point on both assertiveness and cooperativeness scales. The goal here is to find a mutually acceptable and robust solution that in some ways satisfies both the parties.
Level of conflict and how to tackle it. There are 4 levels of conflict. The first level is intrapersonal conflict, which involves conflict within oneself. There are often situations where we have to act against our moral values. This conflict occurs in such situations. It can be managed by abiding to your values and checking the company's guidelines. Sometimes, even writing down the conflict can help, as it provides a review of pros and cons related to the conflict and anticipate the outcomes. The second level of conflict is interpersonal conflict. This conflict occurs between 2 or more people in a larger organization. It can result from differing perspectives on how to accomplish goals. Some steps to resolve interpersonal conflict can be defining the conflict and putting it into context. The next step is to come up with a solution and have a healthy discussion which could satisfy everyone at least partly. Intra-group is the third level of conflict, occurring between members of a single group. As this type of conflict occurs due to varying opinions, background, and experiences. The first step should be discussing the conflict as a team. Collaborating in small groups and formulating a discussion can be another way to resolve the conflict. The final level of conflict is intergroup, which occurs between different groups within a larger organization or those who do not have to same overreaching goals. Conflict resolution can begin by allowing both sides to air their grievances so that everyone understands the full nature of the conflict. Each team member should be involved in negotiation. It's also important to have a healthy discussion with the sole intent of resolution and not pushing personal agendas.
Preventive agencies of industrial conflict. Industrial conflict is a part of workplace conflict. However, it functions in a much different way than normal arguments. Hence, the machinery or the authority of the conflict resolution is also much more strategized. Works Committee is one such authority. It consists of representatives of workers and employers. Its duty is to promote measures for securing and preserving amity and goods relation between the employer and the workman. Sometimes, even a labor welfare officer may be appointed to encourage provisions of amenities, bringing to the notice of the factory management and the grievances of workers, individuals as well as collective. Establish contacts and hold consultations with a view to maintaining harmonious relations between the factory management and workers. Act as an advisor, consoler, meditator, etc. The government may appoint a court of inquiry for inquiring into any industrial dispute. A court may consist of one person or more than one person. In that case, one of the person will be the chairman. The government has set up labor courts for dealing with the matters such as the propriety or legality of an order passed by an employer under the standing orders, the application and the interpretation of standing orders, discharge or dismissal of worker, including reinstatement or grant or relief to workman wrongfully dismissed or withdrawal of any customary concession or privilege. Industrial tribunals are set up by the Indian government for the adjudication of industrial disputes relating to any matter of wages, including the period and mode of payment, hours of work and rest intervals, leave with wages and holidays, bonus, profit sharing, provident fund, and gratuity. Joint Management Council is another such machinery which first came into existence in 1956. Its work is to provide opportunity to workers to participate in conflict management.
Conflict settlement. Elaborating further, let us see some agencies of conflict settlement. The first one is collective bargaining, which is a process of negotiation between employers and a group of employees aimed at agreements to regulate working salaries, working conditions, benefits, and other aspects of workers' compensation and rights for workers. The interests of the employees are commonly presented by representatives of a trade union to which the employees belong. To maintain harmonious relations and promote industrial peace, a code of discipline has been laid down which applies to both public and private sector enterprises. It specifies various obligations for the management and the workers with the objective of promoting cooperation between their representatives. This code of discipline guides the employers and the workers to settle disputes, making use of the existing machinery and abstaining from taking direct action was evolved at the Indian Labour Conference in 1958. Another important method of conflict settlement is grievance procedure, which is a formal process enabling the parties involved to attempt to resolve their differences in a peaceful manner. This is done by a grievance committee, which is a committee comprising the representatives of employees and the employers. A conciliation officer is the authority appointed by the government to mediate disputes between the parties brought to his notice. He is supposed to give judgment within 14 days of the commencement of the conciliation proceedings. The Board of Conciliation is an ad hoc when the conciliation officer fails to resolve disputes within a time frame the board is appointed. When the employer and employees may agree to settle the dispute by appointing an independent and impartial person called arbitrator, this process is called arbitration. Finally, there is adjudication, a mandatory settlement of an industrial dispute by a labor court or a tribunal.
Conflict is a part of our day-to-day lives. You can disagree with your family, friends, or co-workers. But there are various conflict resolution steps you can embrace to ensure this issue is not manageable.